Well, team, check it out. So we're talking about the install for the LaunchLogic system. One of the things I'm looking at is, you know, so this is the upper junction box and this is the lower junction box for one of the systems. I have two kits, and then where's it at? Here's the pause button, right? So one thing we need to figure out is how do we mount this upstairs. Now, one thing I'm going to try it out, is using this slotted angle iron. Now it is carbon steel, but I'm going to keep an eye on it. It's not going to be in a wet area, so it shouldn't be too rusty. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. Nonetheless, the way to do it is, so if you look at the way this is set up, you see how it has a half screw in there? So it goes in there and it's all the way through. So I'm going to use a 8 by 1 inch, or excuse me, this is 12 by 1 inch wood screw. I'll go on the inside through right here on the slotted angle iron, screw it in there, and it'll give me something to mount to on top. So either I'm gonna use a self-tapping screw to go onto the top angle, or we'll figure it out when we get up there. A couple ways to do it. So we're gonna start here cutting these up and get them sized for these and screwed in, ready to go. Well, team, that worked out perfectly for me. All right, check it out. So this is what I'm doing, just that little bit of angle, right? So a couple things. So the lower ones, I'll show you here in a second. The lower ones I'm going to be able to mount on a wooden bollard. The ones on top, I'm going to have to find a home for them, but I went ahead and ground down all these things, and I'll probably put something on top of it, but I got to hide these somewhere. But they have to be close enough to the bottom of the slide where I can still access to manage them and everything like that. So if anything, I might actually tie them to some of the glass. If I've got a flange that's close by, I can mount it to the flange on the fiberglass. We will find out shortly. These guys are on the bottom of the slide as well, so I'm going to put these really close to the runouts for the lifeguards, in course, in case they need to do a pause on dispatch. That's what those are for. You can see I did the same thing here, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it. So to mount the control boxes, I'll show you when I've got the unit strut up. I'm just using it fit perfectly in the slot, gray slot. Oh darn it, where is it? Let me find it real quick. All right, so this little guy right here goes on the control box, on the back side of the control box. Watch this. You see this whole package of them, Brant? Okay, so it goes in the back right here, and then those screws that were in that bag go in there, right? So we wanted to find something that holds it here, right? So what I found was this. This is a 5/8 bolt. 18 by 1 inch, 18-inch thread pitch by 1 inch. So I'm using flathead, or excuse me, 2 flat washers and a lock washer. That'll be in the unit strut right here. Oh, you know what? Yeah, flat washer should work. I'll just be smart about it. And then I'll mount this on one of the poles down on the floor. So let's get to the bottom of the runout. We can at least mount a couple things, get the mounting at least started, because once everything's mounted, then we can worry about the wiring. Right? I just want to get everything mounted so I know where we're at. All right, so let's get down to the bottom of the slide. Okay, team. So these are the 2 slides we're doing it on, which would be this the pull slider and I think it's a 48-inch tube slide from Whitewater. So there's the start for the blue and yellow one, and there's the start for the red and yellow orange one. Okay, so I'm also going to put down the control boxes down here, but you can see how I mounted them right here. I got Sugarfoot with me today.
5% for this video.
5%, okay. So the 2 LaunchLogics, one will be for blue and yellow, the other one will be red and yellow. Okay, I've got them kind of loosey-goosey. I've got to get some more screws and bolts, but at the minimum I got them mounted. Now each one of these takes 110 volts. We talked about earlier that the maximum usage is full load amps is 1.2 amps total for each unit. So working on a 15 amp circuit, nothing for it. It's absolutely nothing. All right, so let's go over here and I'll show you what the plan is. Okay, so I made these brackets to be a point where I can screw them in easily and take them off easily. Where I'm expecting him to put the sensors is in this area, so I'm going to mount the box just right here using self-tapping screws on the fiberglass. It's fine to do that. I'll come back with some resin to make sure that there's no water penetration in it. Okay, so that's on this slide. And then we go over to this one. Okay, so the open tube I'm not really sure where he's going to want to put it in this area. I'm thinking somewhere in this area. Okay, so I might mount it right there, or I might mount it right here. So I haven't figured that out yet. The nice thing is we got long cords. We can go into a different few places if we need to, right? My idea was to hang it right here too. Okay, nonetheless, just make it easier for yourself. Wherever you're going to mount it, make sure it's somewhere you can access. Okay, now the pause buttons for each one of these, I'm going to make them where they're close by for the lifeguard to access. So one will be right here and the other one will be over there, and I'll put signage on for them. Actually, I'll probably put it in there, but it's a little bit farther away where the guests aren't going to hit it. The guests won't hit it, and you know, yeah, nobody's going to hit it. So, but what I'll do here is I'm going to bend that bracket straight so it'll hang perfectly right there with the self tapper, and that's it. That's all we're going to do. Okay, so let's get some screwing done. Smells like fiberglass. Oh look, I used a drill. Okay, I got one more thing to hang up before we can go and get wiring done. But you can see this is how I mounted it down here. So this is one launch, red light, green light. Here's the other one. Right, and here's why I did this. First, one, it's close to the area where we know we're going to penetrate the slide to get the sensors in place, right? Two, it's easy to access for maintenance. I want to ensure that we can get to these without hurting ourselves, and that's not a bad place for it right there. I can sit on the ground, we can do some troubleshooting. Okay, now again, on the bottom you have a pause button for the operator. They can pause the slide if they want. So there's one right there. There's one right there, and then I put the other one on this baller as well. Got to figure out a better way to mount these, but for now I think it'll work. We just need to get them going because our buddy from LaunchLogic's coming tomorrow. I want to make sure to get at least most of these hung, and if not, wired up tonight. Everything I'm going to show up early in the morning and get some wiring done, but because I'm exhausted. It's not a hard job, just it's been a long day with other stuff, so dealing with other things. Anyway, all right, so let's go upstairs. I got one more thing I gotta hang up. Oh, Sugar Blood has it. Dang it. Okay, never mind, we'll stand by here in a minute. I appreciate it. Okay team, we got the topin in place. It's a little spider crawling man lift. It's one of the best things to get out here for this kind of job, because if you can see, it's really narrow. We had to get it in here. We have to get under this slide right there, and then we'll have to get under that one, so we'll have to go this way, but we want to do this one first, right? And if we want, we can actually go and do some other work around here with this guy. But the problem with these little lifts, they're awesome as can be, but they are extremely expensive to rent. Okay, so we're gonna get it here. We got it here this morning. We need to get it out tomorrow morning. Hopefully we only get a day rent. My buddies over at United Rentals, hopefully they'll hook me up. Come on, United Rentals. But anyway, so everything's mounted. Again, the last thing we got to do for this point is get the wiring done. We'll lay out the wires. I'm gonna lay out the wires early in the morning, so you can join me in the morning. But for the rest of the day, the rest of the evening, thank you, LaunchLogic. See you in the morning.